OpenAI completes the shift to a for-profit company, marking the end of an era. Most firms say AI is a priority, but a report says they struggle to make it work with their legacy systems. A Toronto startup finds opportunity in understanding how AI sees or doesn't see various brands. And Elon Musk takes on Wikipedia and once more raises the question, what is he thinking? Welcome to #Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. Maybe it was the exuberance of the original cause, developing AI to change the world, or maybe they just never imagined they'd be this successful. But setting up OpenAI as a not-for-profit turned out to be one of its biggest challenges once ChatGPT took off to become one of the fastest-growing applications of all time. With that success came an insatiable appetite for processing power, data, and expertise, and that meant raising enormous, almost unimaginable amounts of money. The problem: who's going to invest billions into a company that's legally a non-profit? And that's why this week marks a major milestone. OpenAI has officially restructured itself into a new for-profit entity called OpenAI Group PBC. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? While its original nonprofit arm becomes the OpenAI Foundation. The foundation will still oversee the company's mission to develop safe and beneficial AI. But the new structure gives OpenAI freedom to raise capital and expand commercial operations. Despite its original not-for-profit status, OpenAI did manage to get a large investment from Microsoft of somewhere around $12 billion or more. But the reality is they wouldn't be able to raise the hundreds of billions they needed as a not-for-profit. And making this happen wasn't easy, nor was it always a sure thing. It faced opposition from Elon Musk and other early backers, as well as scrutiny from California regulators and potential legal hurdles tied to charitable asset protections. Microsoft, which provided the initial billions in cloud credits and investment, had to be negotiated with, but their $12 billion investment turns into a roughly 27% stake in a company that is now valued at $500 billion US. Not a bad afternoon's work. I don't think anybody's going to be criticizing Satya Nadella on that investment. But critics still say the move could dilute OpenAI's original mission to develop AI to benefit humanity, while supporters argue it's the only way to sustain innovation at scale and to raise the capital needed to take them to the goal of artificial general intelligence or perhaps superintelligence. But no matter how you feel about it, this marks a turning point on their journey. OpenAI is now firmly in the ranks of global tech giants, leaving us all wondering if it can balance profit, progress, and public trust on that same tightrope. A new survey from automation and integration platform Zapier shows that there is great enthusiasm for AI, but it also shows how hard it is to turn that enthusiasm into results. The report surveyed 532 respondents, U.S. C-suite executives, presidents, owners, or partners at companies with 1,000 or more employees. And in that group, 92% of U.S. enterprises say AI is a top priority. Yet nearly 4 out of 5 admit they can't get new AI tools to work with their legacy systems. So integration, not innovation, is the real roadblock. 78% say they struggle to connect AI to existing infrastructure, and more than half call that job moderately to extremely difficult. It turns out IT departments are leading the charge, but they're also perceived to be slowing it down. Zapier found that IT teams are 10 times more likely than other departments to drive AI projects. But many of the respondents also felt IT teams create bottlenecks with approval processes and security reviews. Costs and vendor issues also loom large. 45% cite high prices, 38% worry about vendor security, and over a third feared being locked into proprietary systems. That's pushing many companies towards more open and modular architectures. And there is a perceived pressure to move quickly. 81% of executives feel they must accelerate AI adoption to keep up with competitors, yet 41% say they're falling behind. And for all the usual talk about job fears, only 4% of leaders said that employees are actively resisting AI. They feel the bigger challenge is coordination, bridging the gap between IT and departments like sales, HR, and marketing that are still felt to be lagging behind. Zapier also found that nearly half of enterprise leaders, 47%, admit their employees are using unapproved AI tools on the side, a clear sign that shadow AI is filling the gaps where official systems fall short. It's natural that a company specializing in AI integration would spot integration as an issue, and secure integration is a real problem. But the report really does give us some food for thought. If this data is accurate, we've got enthusiastic employees who feel held back and are compensating by using shadow AI and unapproved tools. And once again, IT might be getting the short end of the stick, because while they're often seen as holding things up, there are legitimate concerns here about security, compliance, and just how easy it is for AI systems to be hacked. It's easy sometimes to focus on the way businesses are disrupted by AI, and validly so. But we can't forget that AI also creates new business opportunities. And a startup in Toronto, Canada, is jumping right into that space. The company is called Pre, and it's founded by University of Toronto engineering professor and Modiface creator Parham Arabi. He has raised $2 million to tackle a new problem: seeing how brands are perceived by AI. Now, this is a critical question. As more and more people get answers from ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, or Perplexity's Comet browser, search is no longer getting a list of links. AI is answering the question directly, and for many companies, that means their websites are seeing traffic cut in half or worse, which makes Pre's ideas so powerful. Help brands understand what's really happening inside those AI answers. The company's flagship tool, called Dynamic Human Personas, creates AI-generated shoppers that talk to systems like ChatGPT and Gemini, asking natural questions. For instance, if they were looking at makeup, they would say, "What is the best foundation for my skin tone?" and then analyze which brands get recommended and why. And what they found is eye-opening. In thousands of tests, makeup brand Clinique was mentioned in 55% of ChatGPT conversations, but only in 9% of Google's Gemini AI. Two brands I've never heard of, Fenty, showed up 41% more often in ChatGPT than Gemini, while ELF was almost even. Now, you don't have to follow fashion or makeup to see that this suggests a new kind of AI bias, one that decides which products get talked about and seen. So this AI persona shopper is a creative response to a challenge AI has itself created. And as the web shifts from clicks to conversations, visibility now depends on how machines perceive your brand. Pre's approach may point to a whole new industry, one focused on understanding and optimizing for the world as AI sees it. So here's a question for you. Does Elon Musk think that the things he does won't do damage to his personal brand? Or does he just not care? His latest venture, Wikipedia, raises this question. It's an AI-powered encyclopedia launched by his company xAI. Musk says it's designed to rival Wikipedia, although he didn't explain why the world needs another Wikipedia, especially since many of its first 800,000 articles appear to be copied directly from Wikipedia itself. Now, in the current world of AI, if that doesn't get your socks into a knot, The Verge reports that even Musk's team acknowledges the overlap. And I know that Wikipedia is open to the world and used by everyone, but you have to ask yourself, do you compete with somebody by taking all their material and publishing it? But Wikimedia seems to be soldiering on, as Lauren Dickinson from the Wikimedia Foundation, which runs Wikipedia, said, "Even Grokipedia needs Wikipedia to exist." For his part, Musk claims his version will be 10 times better, free from what he calls bias in mainstream sources. And I might get notes on this, but I'm going to tackle this one head on. If you've ever used Wikipedia, you'd know. That's the greatest crock of BS I've ever heard. Now, we've all seen the results of Musk's tinkering with AI to supposedly reduce bias. That's what gave us Mecha Hitler. I don't know. You'd think that leading the electric car transformation, launching satellite internet, and planning a trip to Mars would keep this guy busy and out of trouble. Instead, in my humble opinion, and I think it's widely shared, he's managed to do a lot of damage to Twitter, and now he's taking a swing at the world's most respected volunteer project, one that's already struggling to find its footing in the age of AI. I kind of think maybe Elon should get a hobby. And as I always say when we stray into opinion, I'm old enough to say what I think, but I'm also interested in what you think. Agree or disagree? You can reach me at technewsday.ca or .com. Just go to the Contact Us page. And if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment under the video. And unless you hate me for my thing on Elon Musk, a like or a subscribe would go a long way to help build our audience. But here's two things I know we can all agree on. First, I'm your host, Jim Love. Second, you should have a wonderful Wednesday.